Please get ready for a dictation of exercise 3 and 4 from Progressive Magazine of December 2021. 5 seconds. Start. We started planning as the house will remember 3 years or 4 years ago with very little data. It is very difficult to plan without data. Gradually, we have collected data. Gradually, we have made the states and the people in the states plan conscious. All the time, we have had to face the terrific problem of food shortage in this country. We came to the conclusion, rightly or wrong, that in the first 5-year plan, the most important thing was the agricultural front. Of course, we are carrying on with the river valley schemes, and we have put up factories and many other kinds of plants. But essentially, we realized that food shortage was the big problem, and we concentrated on that. We did that because we felt that unless we had a strong food basis, our industrial efforts might well be bogged down. Honorable members who have studied the history of other countries probably know that too much stress on heavy industries has produced difficult problems in those countries. In fact, the price paid for rapid industrialization has been terrific in some socialistic countries. I am certain that no country with any kind of parliamentary democracy can possibly pay it. Maybe where there is a dictatorship with an army behind it, they may be able to do it. But even a dictator cannot go too far without the consent of the people. Real progress must ultimately depend on industrialization. That industrialization ultimately depends on heavy industries. Even to preserve our national independence and much more to raise our standards of living, heavy industries are essential. But if we go in for heavy industries alone and not think of the other factors, is quite possible that our problems will become much more difficult. It is possible also that unemployment will grow. We have to face the problems which China has to face. Of course, we hear many kinds of reports about China. There are good accounts and true accounts. There is terrific unemployment in China. Their own leader says so. They are trying to face it perhaps in a different way. The same problem comes up before us. We want higher techniques. We cannot progress without higher techniques. But the moment we think of higher techniques, we cause unemployment. We do not want unemployment. We want more employment. We want that no one be unemployed here. people talk about the public sector and the private sector. Does the House realize that the biggest and the overwhelming part of the private sector is the private sector of the peasants in India? That is the real private sector in our country, not the few factories we have. There is much discussion about the public sector and the private sector. I said the other day, and have said it more than once, that I attach great importance to the public sector. The pattern of society that we look forward to is a socialist pattern of society which is classless. So far as the Congress is concerned, for a long time past, it has laid down its objective as a classless society, which obviously can be attained only in a socialistic pattern. But I would beg of you not to imagine that because socialism conceives of nationalized industry, therefore you must have all industry nationalized. I think that as the socialist pattern grows, there is bound to be more and more nationalized industry. But what is important is not that there should be an attempt to nationalize everything, but that we should aim at the ultimate result, which is higher production and employment. If by taking any step you actually hinder the process of production and employment from growing, then that does not lead you to the socialistic pattern. In a country like India, where money, trained personnel, and experience are lacking, we have to take advantage of such experience, training, and money as we have. We want to make this business of building up India a cooperative enterprise of all the people. We try to avoid conflicts and try to avoid taking steps which have a chilling effect on this pattern. We want to go ahead in regard to production and employment. That is the vital thing. And in order to attain that, we have to create the right atmosphere and encourage initiative. In regard to the public and the private sector, it is obvious that with the limited resources we have in the hands of the state, we cannot do all that we want to do at the present moment. We shall, of course, try to do as much as we can. But some people suggest that we must prevent the private sector from functioning in the field of industries. I think such an idea comes from confused thinking. I do not understand this attitude. I want a socialist society in India. I want to get out of this framework of an acquisitive society, but I am not going to get it by merely passing resolutions, etc. Stop.